Yes, what's happening, people? Hope you're all well. Hope you're all keeping cool, and I hope the end of your week has been good. Welcome back to the show. Welcome back to Football's 12th Man podcast. I've got some fantastic guests with me tonight. Welcome back to the show. First of all, Saeed, how are you, mate?
Yes, mate. Good to see you. Good to see you, Tom, as well. Yeah, man. Good, man. It's good to be back on the channel. And yeah, man. Let's talk football, innit?
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about, and there's a lot that's happened today.
Mm.
Tobes, what you saying? How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, man. A bit tired, but I'm good. It's the weekend, so can't really complain, mate. Can't really complain.
Yeah, of course, man. Everyone loves the weekend. Let's talk football. There's a lot that's happened with all three clubs, to be honest, this week. It's been a lot of. I will
Mm.
say this. This transfer window has actually spoken of Tottenham, Arsenal, and United quite a lot. Whether it means they've got players in, whether it means there's been rumours, every single day you seem to wake up and there's either a
Mm.
link, a rumour, or a signing
Yeah.
between the three of us. So actually, that's
Yeah.
quite nice in a way, but also quite rare to see because I would say these three sides are quite frustrating in the transfer window. I don't know if you guys agree, but it seems to at the moment be that we're all looking forward to seeing what's happening. We're going to start with Man United because, of course,
Mm.
there's some breaking news today about Christian Eriksen. I'm really
Mm.
interested to hear not just yourself on this, Saeed, but also Toby being a Tottenham fan. But Saeed, let's start with you. This to me is a good signing, but it's an interesting one as far as Man United are concerned as to what route you're kind of going down because
Mm.
I always think it's interesting to see what kind of plan people have in place. And you're either going to go with a young, hungry team or proven. Or you're going
Mm.
to go with a little bit of a balance and see that I need some experience and some youth. And I think that's
Absolutely.
probably the way to go. Now,
Yeah.
with Arsenal, we haven't seen that. Excuse me. We've seen youth all the way through it, to be fair, right? And that's always been my kind of critique. We see a Thomas Partey come in, but we need more of that.
Mm.
With Manchester United, I think what we're seeing from your kind of perspective at the moment is a little bit more of a balance. So, what do you make of this Christian Eriksen signing, mate?
I'm excited, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. From day one, I was like, yeah, let's get this guy in, man, because for me, he's got the Premier League proven factor. His experience. I think he's at the right age where I think touching 30, just turned 30. I think for me, he's at that period where he's like just gone top of his peak, but then just kind of like not enough to kind of be like dwindling and kind of like maybe falling off and maybe his mobility going, etc., etc. But I think it's a very, very good move. Free transfer. You know what I mean? Like I said, Prem proven, he's done it for Brentford last year. Okay, it's another system, but Ten Hag knows him. Ten Hag, he gave the first opportunity when he had the situation with Eriksen. He was the one that first called him in. So there's that kind of relationship there. I feel like, we need that experience in the squad. We've got, I wouldn't say it's a young squad, but it's a very naive squad. It's a very kind of like, they've not really won anything. If I can say that, they've not kind of like got that experience of being in a big stage. I think Eriksen can bring that collectiveness, the calmness. So yeah, no, I'm excited, but I feel like for me, it's someone that you need in your squad. Everybody has that player where, they might come from a free transfer. He might be on low wages. He might not play, kind of like the way or the kind of style that people want. Or, it's just that sort of player that we need. And when we lost Mata, we lost Lingard, we lost a lot of players in that area. We do need to replace them, Paul Pop, but we lost a lot of creativity and we need to reproduce that. So I'm happy, man. I think it's a good step, man. It's a good step in direction. Free transfer, Eriksen. I think you're laughing, really. You know what I mean? When you look at the expectation won't be as high, but then the quality will be a lot. Like you're getting more. It's basically like low risk, high reward, isn't it? And I feel like for me, that's perfect for what you need.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. I think he's a good signing, and I looked at what he did at Brentford last season, and he was by far the best player. And I mean, he just pushed them forward for me. Always
Facts.
liked him at Spurs. Um, I was a little bit surprised, Topes. I'm going to come to you that maybe you didn't
Mm.
sniff around him. Now, I'm not saying you need that position filled, but with the links with Conte, with your links with Spurs, and obviously when he was at Inter Milan, I thought maybe you would have pushed a little bit of interest. So I wanted to get your opinion on that, but also deciding for Man United and Christian Eriksen, mate.
So I'll start with the second question first. So I think it's a good signing in isolation for Man United. I just, like I said to Saeed, I'm still trying to figure out their plan for that midfield. Like, what is the
Mm.
plan for that midfield? Because we all know Eriksen's a good player. We know what he's going to bring. He's played in this league for how many years? You saw what he could do at Spurs. Okay, albeit it's not the same intense Eriksen that you used to get because of what's
Mm.
happened to him. And so on and so forth. But he can still strike a ball really well. He can still use both feet.
Mm.
He can still get around the pitch. He can still pass really well, and on set pieces, when he's on it, he delivers wicked set pieces. So Man United are getting essentially a good player, a good Premier League proven player for £0 in transfer fees. So you can't really say that that's a bad signing.
No.
As I said, the only thing I would question is the plan, because as I said a million times, I think Eriksen plays in the same position as Bruno plays. He just got given a 6-year deal a couple months back, and also plays in the same position that Van der Beek plays in. So I'm thinking there's potentially 3 midfielders there that are vying for one spot. Somebody's not going to be happy. But then at the same time, I guess Van der Beek could potentially play deeper. I don't know. So that's what I think on the signing. In terms of Spurs going for him, I think we showed interest. We wanted to go for Eriksen initially. We reached out to his representatives, but we pulled out. I think the club, to be honest, I think the club are looking for a more sort of long-term strategy there. So we are still looking for that type of player, 100%. And Eriksen definitely would have ticked the boxes that I was looking for, and I would have welcomed Eriksen happily. I even wanted him, but I think the club moved away from that deal for whatever reason. And that's why he's obviously at Man United. Man United made a more attractive offer, I guess, 3-year contract. So you can't really say no to that, especially when it's like a last sort of big payday. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I have to agree, man. Go on, Saeed.
No, I just feel like also, I don't know if he would have wanted to come back to Tottenham, if that story would have held any kind of like value. I don't know. Like, I think Conte's not the type of person to have sentimental kind of like. If it was say Pochettino was still the manager, I think he would have came back. But with Conte, he's like, you know what? Nah, I'm not here for the sub stories, innit? I'm here to win. He's a serial winner, and he's thinking, you know what? Nah, I'm gonna use that money elsewhere where I know I can get the best version of Eriksen. Maybe we're not getting the best version of Eriksen, but I still think it adds to our squad right now because we're still kind of like, I wouldn't say kind of like maturing, but we're kind of like we're working our way up in the kind of like in the field. So I just feel like for me, it's a perfect scenario for what we're trying to do now. And then later on in 1 or 2 seasons, we could just like say, yeah, you know what? You're either part of the overall squad and whatnot, and you don't have more of a role. You know what I mean? Or he gets better. We don't know. You know what I mean? We don't know how Eriksen's going to perform. You know,
I'm with you, man. It's going to be interesting to see the formation because this is what I think Man United are looking at. We're going to come on to Martinez in a minute. This is what I think will happen. I think Manchester United will buy a holding midfielder and a centre forward, and I think they'll probably get this Anthony guy at some point or somebody like that, right? And I think they'll get a holding midfielder. It might be De Jong, it might not be somebody like that. And I think Eriksen and Bruno will go as 2 attacking eights, and they'll have Sancho, a striker, and a left winger. That's what I think will probably happen. But I could be wrong. It could be completely different, and it could be a squad rotation thing. But that's the way I'm looking at it. So it'll be interesting to see.
I think if they're going to sign De Jong, they can't play him as the lone pivot, in my opinion. I think they're waste. I think you want Frankie in and around the first or second phase of play, but you don't want him to be. You don't almost want to take away the other aspects of his game, like he's dribbling, like he's really good at beating the press and taking the ball up the pitch. And if he's playing as the lone pivot, then I don't think he's going to be able to do those things well. I think maybe they might bring in someone to play next to Frankie if they bring Frankie in, and then play one of Bruno or Eriksen in the 10. Or even Van der Beek. So I don't know. It's like I said, I don't really know what they're planning for midfield. I just know they want De Jong and they've signed Eriksen.
What do you reckon, Saeed?
I think for me, I'm not gonna lie to you. I've got this kind of weird feeling that Martinez might play CDM. I don't know what it is, but something's just telling me that it could be a possibility. But then again, there was this stat that was saying that, you know, Ten Hag is doing this on purpose. Malacia can play left back, left wing back. Eriksen can play, I would say, on the right, on the left, on the 6, maybe, possibly at 8, could roll to the 10. You've got De Jong, who can play maybe 2 positions. Martinez can play 3 positions. So he's maybe bringing a kind of an element of, you know, that players have got to adapt to different systems, different ideas. And if you look at the actual signings he's made, they actually make sense. So, there must be a method to the plan. I think the midfield, I'm not going to lie to you, for once, I actually don't know like what midfield he's going to choose. And I think it's okay for fans to not know. Like, there's always an expectation that, we've got to know who's the front three and midfielders. I actually don't know because he's given the kind of the perception right now in terms of pre-season, he's given everyone a chance. But come that first game of the season, he'll have to change it because it will just set a precedent for the rest of the season of how you're going to play. If McTominay and Fred do start, it's like, what was all that about? You know what I mean? So, you know what I mean? Like, so it has to be a reason. When we get De Jong in, he will have to change it a little bit and then kind of like go with his plan. So,
what's he playing at the moment in pre-season? Because I've not actually watched any of your matches.
Who's playing well? The kids?
No. It's what formation?
Yeah, what formation? I think.
Formation, yeah.
4-2-3-1.
It's
4-2-3-1. There we go then. So Tobes is right. It will be one. It'll be a number 10 then, I reckon.
Because Ajax, I think he showed variety, but I didn't really watch them extensively. But when I watched them in Champions League and I watched them in the league, well, I say in the league, when I watched them in the Champions League or Europa League, at times they play a holding midfielder next to De Jong. When we played them in the Champions League, they played a holding midfielder next to De Jong, and it was Van der Beek that was playing the 10. But I guess with his football, it's quite fluid anyway. So we'll be interesting to see how they.
I'm not gonna lie to you. With Donny Van der Beek, he definitely needs to play with the first team, man. A lot of people online today say, man, he's not good enough or whatnot. But you can't really write someone off, man, when they don't play with the first team. And I always say, if a player was not allowed to play within the first team and gets his opportunity with the first team, you can't really judge him because you can say then, oh, you know what, if he's flopped with the second team or whatnot, he hasn't stood out. I get that, but also the way of playing is so much different. There's a bit of zip about the game. It's that kind of like feeling, what everybody's on the same level, and the workload and the kind of like, what everyone's got to do is quite evened out. Yes, he might have players that come into to kind of like into fruition, but in terms of like, Donny Van der Beek, I still think he has to play with the rest of the team, the main team, not with like kids and then second team stringers and whatnot. Like, it's not gonna work. So we'll see. He might play him in there with De Jong. You don't know because he can play.
It could be interesting. And do you know what's interesting about this conversation is actually the numbers you've already got in there now we're talking about. So actually there is some strength and depth in there because Van der Beek, I think, is a player. Bruno Fernandes on his day is a player. Eriksen we've spoken about. If you do get De Jong as well, then that midfield all of a sudden starts to look half decent again because Man United have had a bang average midfield for too long, Saeed. Like, you look at Fred and McTominay, man.
Since 2019, where we had like Herrera, Pogba and Matic, that was like the kind of last midfield like we kind of really had. Since then, it's been McTominay, Fred, like ever since then. Matic here and there, Pogba here and there, but most of the time it's been Fred and McTominay.
Yeah, and that's poor, man. I can't lie. That's poor, man.
That's the biggest kind of right.
That brings joy to my ears.
What do you mean? Nah, listen, man. It's not right for anyone, man. It's like I'd feel sorry for you if you had Winks and who's in there.
Didn't you not want Winks? I saw you not wanted Winks.
Sorry,
I'm pretty sure you lot wanted Harry Winks. Didn't you?
Nah. Mourinho wanted Winks. We didn't want Winks. Mourinho was persistent on them kind of type of players, man.
You don't want to be going down that road. You want to be trying to improve it, my guy.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean?
I must say, I do look at that United midfield if it happens though, and think fair play to you because fair play to Ten Hag because I know it's not hard having to look at where you need to improve, but it just seems for so long now United have not improved that area. Pogba didn't work. Matic, I think, came in at the wrong time. I don't think it was really he needed to go. Do you know what I mean? He wasn't going to be staying around. So fair play to you. This Lisandro Martinez one though, Saeed, just quickly before I bring Tobes in, like the butcher they call him. We were linked with him. The Ten Hag effect has probably got him to Manchester United. Where do you think this is obviously going to be a good signing, but where do you see him playing for most of it? Do you think he'll be a DM? Do you think he'll go left back, left centre back? Like, what are you saying?
You know what? I think it's anywhere, to be honest with you. Like, I generally I think it could be like centre back, could be CDM, it could be left. Like, we don't know. Like, it's one of them situations where I think it's keeping us on our toes. I think it's like giving us that kind of feeling of, you know what? But I looked at today and Maguire was off pace, Lindelof was off pace, and they need someone in there that's a bit aggressive, that can play the high line as well. Because you got to play that high line. You got to know how to play the high line. So I feel like for me, it's going to be, Martinez played at centre back, and then when we need him the most, like playing the CDM role, because then there's certain games where you play a Man City away, or a kind of I don't know, like a game that's a tough game, Liverpool away, where you might need someone to play the free, and that Martinez might make up the numbers, if you know what I mean. So, we're just having this kind of feeling, you know what, we're adaptable, he's durable, he can play different, he's multifaceted. So I just feel like, for me, centre back because of what we need, but I reckon he could play CDM, which I prefer it. Like, exactly, someone said there, Mascherano role, exactly what that is. Mascherano, so multi-dimensional. He could play right back one time, centre back, CDM. He was everywhere, man. Like, he was just like a perfect. I wouldn't call them utility players as well. They're just so organic in that kind of sense. Like this, they could do so many roles, and I feel
think above all, the key thing to note with him, as is the case with Eriksen, as is what it looks to be the case with Malacia, and then potentially, if you sign Frankie de Jong, is that this guy's getting in players who are comfortable with the ball at their
versatile as well.
Exactly.
Not even just for versatility. Just above all, they're just comfortable with the ball at their feet. Like, they're players who don't treat the ball like a flipping hot stone. They don't treat the ball as if they have to get rid of it as soon as they get it.
They can all play. Yeah,
they can all play. They have the bravery to play under pressure, and they have the bravery to make progressive passes that Man United's current players can't make. So I think, above all, that's the most important thing to note about the players that Ten Hag is signing. But yeah, I must say he's definitely keeping everyone on their toes with regards to like how Man United shape up. Because even like we spoke about Eriksen, Lisandro is another one. Like, where does he play? Yeah, he can play left back, but they've just signed Malacia, and they have Luke Shaw, and they have Tellers. Yeah, he can play left centre back, but they've also got Maguire there, who of course needs competition for sure, but he's also their captain. So you would imagine a captain that's under 30 years old, you would imagine that he's going to be playing the majority of games. So yeah, we don't really know what position.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, this one. I think he will play.
Everyone, I think Van Gaal did it though. I think it might have been his first season when he came in, like just played that 3-5-2 and just played. I think Nani was that like left wing back, I think it was. So he could actually do it. Like, you just don't know. The Dutch guys, they're mad. Like, if you actually look at his games, he's got people playing in different positions. Like, he's got Berghaus, he's got him playing like in midfield. He had Mazarawi like a striker position. He was like his formation, the way he kind of does things it's a madman. So that's why I feel like, maybe looking at the formation, what he could do, I feel like maybe don't look into that too much, because he could just do anything. Like, he's a maverick of a manager. Like, he's crazy, man. He's actually a madman.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'll play left centre back. I do. I think he'll play left centre back, and I think Varane will be with him. I don't know what that means for Harry Maguire, but I think you sometimes have to just look at the facts and say, are you good enough? Currently, no. I think you need to be looking at moving into the, none of this. But Harry Maguire, we spent so much money on him. Sometimes you get it wrong. We did with Pepe. We did with other players that haven't done it. You just have to move on. And I do feel that. Yeah, I do feel that he will play, and I think him and Varane will probably form a good partnership. Who knows, but it could work. And I think Ten Hag could do some good things for you next season. I just think you've got to trust him now and back him. But I wanted to ask you, Saeed, on two players before we move on to Spurs. Martial and Rashford, like, what's happening with them two? Are they in his plans, do you think?
You know what? With Rashford, I feel like he's just always in every manager's plans. But I think Martial's a different type of like player, and you've got to like treat it in a different type of way. I feel like with Martial, the talent's there and everything's there. Maybe he's kind of like, people like don't kind of maybe people just don't understand him. I feel like he's very, very unpredictable. And I feel like you've got to kind of put an arm around his shoulder. You've got to guide him. You've got to let him know that, listen, you're my number one and I believe in you. He's more that sort of player. With Rashford, he just kind of believes in his own hype, and he's like, you know what, I will get there, or I will find a way. And he's his own person. With Rashford as well, I feel like for me, he's looking at that left-hand side. He's thinking, you know what, I've got my chance to go build it up again now with the new manager coming in. And Rashford, he's played at Dortmund at right wing. He's probably thinking, you know what, he'll move across that way. I can get this left side locked in. So, but again, with Martial, I'm not going to lie to you, man. I was a big Martial fan, but at the minute, it's difficult to back someone in public. Like we do the big six and whatnot. Like every time, we're talking about Martial and whatnot, and it's like, yo, I know the talent's there, but then I can't gas him up. But then also, if he comes back and then, you know what I mean? Like, we're going to be there for him. But the inconsistencies, man, he's so inconsistent, Martial. He'll have one good season and a bad. Then one good and a bad. It's like, I can't back you. I get you have to back your players, but I can't, like, put my neck on the line and be like, you know what? Martial's going to deliver. Like, I don't know this season if Martial will deliver. Like, it just depends on the way we play football, depends on the confidence within himself. And just there's so many factors with that, and with Rashford as well. There's so many factors to get back to his form that he showed like 2-3 years ago. So it's a messy one, man. It's not a good one.
Yeah, it'll be interesting for me to see if Ten Hag can get the best out of these two, because I think there's some talent there. With Marcus Rashford, I've never quite got the hype, if I'm honest with you. I never have. I've never understood the hype. I don't. When he first come on the scene, I thought this kid looks all right, And then I saw a mentality issue, and now I've really seen what I thought was going to happen, and he's just hit a brick wall. And I just think maybe he wasn't. I see a little bit of maybe a Theo Walcott or like a Gabby Agbonlahor. Do you remember when it was like, wow, these kids are going to be sick, and then they just hit a brick wall and they never got any better. They hit like 25 and that was it. That was they done. They were never going to get better. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know. That's my thoughts. Go on, Tobs.
I think he's a better footballer than both those names you mentioned, to be honest. I think Walcott did do well to carve out, I think, a relatively decent Arsenal career. I think he was good for the most part for Arsenal. When you look at his output,
100 goals. He was decent.
Yeah. So, but I think with Rashford though, if I'm a Man United fan, I'm looking more to what Rashford can do than what Martial can do. Martial is like, how many years now? How many years of Martial showing glimpses and then doing nothing? Like, he was as bad as Rashford was last year. What was Martial doing last season? What was he doing? And
there was problems with Martial because of the fact that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer didn't fancy him, then Ralph Rangnick didn't fancy him, and then it was a case of, you know what, I got to go find. There was a lot of emotional damage that was done to him. I feel like now he's now got a manager that maybe will believe in him now, and it's time to kick on. There's no excuse. There's nobody's going to be coming to me and saying, yo, listen, have you got excuses for Martial? I'm going to be like, listen, he has to prove everyone wrong. Like, he has to. Like, there's no like buying that. Like, he's got to perform now. There's no more messing around. It's now or never for Martial. He's 27. I think he's 27 in November. Well, we're headed to the now like almost prime years now, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, man. I'm with you, man. Tobes, Spurs, Jed Spence. Yeah, that's looking like it's going to get done finally after weeks of like speculation. Now, I've got to say, bro, I think this is a class signing, and people will laugh when I say that because he's only done bits at Nottingham Forest and he's on loan and he's young and he's got it. I think this is the perfect type of signing for what you need, because this for me is pace, raw talent, somebody that Conte can work with, and I think somebody that can grow into the team for you, and one that's probably out of all of your signings, maybe one for the future. I would say the others are kind of there now. Do you know what I mean? They're already doing it. Do you know what I mean? I look at Spence and I think this kid could be really, really good. I liked him a lot when I saw him against us. He absolutely destroyed Martinelli in the FA Cup, like destroyed him. And he's a good player, Martinelli, whether you love him or hate him. I looked at him and I thought, who is this guy? I can't believe that Middlesbrough put him on loan to Nottingham Forest. Like, this kid's got something, mate. So I wanted to ask you what your thoughts are this signing as a Spurs fan, mate.
Yeah, well, to be honest, I can believe Middlesbrough put him on loan to Nottingham Forest, because Middlesbrough have Isaiah, I think Isaiah there, who plays right wing back, and he's actually pretty good the few times I've seen him as well. But I think with someone's just put in the comments, Spurs in talks with Yuri. Is that true? I don't know.
Who's that?
I don't know. Let us know in the chat. Yuri Tielemans to Tottenham. Is that serious, or is that Luca? Luca, let us know, man.
I don't think it's a Conte type of player, man. Yeah, you need someone that's durable. No, I mean, I don't think Tielemans is durable in that sense. Mobility-wise as well, I don't think it gives you...
But anyway, sorry. On Spence, listen, Spence is an unknown quantity for me. I can't even lie. I barely watch this guy play. I'm only going off hearsay and what I've read. And from what I've heard and what I've read, this looks like a good signing for Spurs. And I'll stick my neck out and say he definitely is a good talent. Like, there's no way people are speaking about this guy now if there isn't anything about him. And
Finally, you got a good right back, though, innit? Like, how many years have you been finding a good? Like, since maybe is it who's that? Trippier. Since Trippier.
since Kyle Walker. Since Kyle
Yeah,
Walker.
but you know what? Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, true.
Since Kyle Walker. So we ain't
I
had
thought
one.
Trippier was decent, though. Decent-ish.
Nah, he was poor. Let's be real, he was poor. But anyway, I think with Spence, yeah, you're definitely right in the fact that he's probably the one player that you can't just chuck into the team straight away. I think Conte will sort of ease him in because we already have, we already have Chicken Royale and Doherty. So I think Conte has probably got used to using one of those guys. So
he's realised they ain't good enough, though. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, exactly. He's realised they ain't good enough, and we've realised that we need to pad our team with more English players, because obviously we potentially could sell Tanganga. Harry Winks is definitely leaving the club this summer, so we needed to not only fill the team with young homegrown players, but actually good players or players that have the potential to be really good. And I think he ticks that box. I've heard that his crossing isn't great and stuff like that. But in all honesty, I'm not really paying attention to his attributes per se. I'm paying attention to the fact that the guy is, again, a good talent and young. And I think the one thing that I really like about Spence, and I'm going to do a video about this upon his announcement, is that physically, I think he can just slot him into that team. Like, he's 6 foot tall, he's strong, he's rapid. Like, he's the type of character that Antonio Conte can work with. And if we're looking at managers who can elevate the game of players who can play wing back or fullback, then we've got no manager better to do that. He squeezed something even out of duds like Doherty. Even towards the end of the season, you saw Emerson Royale putting in
facts, mate.
three, four good performances. And then even Sessegnon
Ben
as well.
Davis, another one.
Sessegnon, who I think he's quite poor. Even him, he's the last 3-4 games of last season, he was really good for Spurs, and he's squeezing some quality out of these guys. So yes, our right back situation isn't, even with Spence, our right back situation, I'm not comfortable with it. Yeah, I'm not comfortable with it, and I say that because we still got the likes of Chicken Roy out there and Doherty there. Yeah, but for the most part, I'm happy. I'm happy with Spence, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what he can do, because this is the first time in a long time where we've actually put faith in a young English player to play right back since Walker. We tried it with Kyle Walker-Peters. He wasn't good enough at the time when we sold him. So let's see what Spence can do, man. We threw Kyle Walker into the deep end after loaning him out to I think we loaned him out to QPR and to Aston Villa when we bought him for Sheffield United, and he had a fantastic debut season for us. So I'm hoping that whatever chance Spence gets, he takes it, and we see a similar sort of evolution, man. I think he really could hopefully be the solution to Kyle Walker, man. Honestly.
Do you reckon he can get to that? Like, I've just got this kind of feeling that, do you reckon he'll be able to kind of withstand the pressure because of his rise? Like, it's been a meteoric rise, like, from Championship. Not many players can settle. Like, you know, if you're looking at Sessegnon, his rise from the Championship to the Premier League hasn't been great. There's a few players that just don't be able to kind of have that same impact, even though I think they're a good player. It's just the expectation, it's the hype. They just don't manage it, and it's getting more and more common now.
It'll be his mentality, won't it? It'll be interesting to see what mentality is on this kid, because I like what I see. So.
Yeah, I think he's got a good mentality. I think, like, he went to Nottingham Forest and he was desperate to prove to Warnock that he was good enough. He was good enough to be the guy, and I like that. I like the fact that he backed himself to go to Nottingham Forest and smash it there, and that's what he did. That's what he's done. I think it's no easy feat to be one of the best players at a team in the Championship who have just gained promotion. Like, he was highly coveted, and I'm happy that he wants to play for Spurs first and foremost. And I think in terms of translating from the Championship to the Premier League, the biggest thing for me is the intensity of the league. And I feel like, from a physical perspective, this is a guy who I think he can translate well as far as that step up comes. So, yeah, I would have liked someone with a bit more experience, but it is what it is. I'm looking forward to see what he can do for us. So let's see.
Yeah,
it'd be good signing, man.
I've got to bring this up, Saeed, because I think for me and you, looking at Arsenal and Man United, I think these are the two, out of all of the signings, I think they're all good signings for Spurs. Don't get me wrong, I think they've had a fantastic window so far. But these are the two that I'm really jealous about, Basuma and Spence. I think bargain, absolute bargain deals. I don't know how much Spence is going to... What's the deal with Spence, Tobes, in terms of price?
It's 12.5 million initial, and then there's around, I think it's like 6.5 million in add-ons. Four are I can't even remember. Yeah, 6.5 million in add-ons.
Still bargain, like absolute bargain for both of them, and Basuma as well. Saeed, I'm looking at those two players.
It's a year of add-ons, isn't it? Like this year is about add-ons, isn't it? Like,
yeah, it is, man.
It's like seriously, like add-ons used to be like the final thing you'd be thinking about.
Yeah,
but
you're
now
right, bro.
It's like the first thing you've got to like discuss is add-ons.
Well, I look at Basuma and Spencer, Saeed. I think they'd walk into United's first team. Basuma would definitely walk into Arsenal's first team, and Spence would be brilliant competition for me for Tomiyasu. So, like, we should be pretty jealous of these signings, no?
I think Basuma, yeah, I think I wanted him, but because of the outstanding conviction, I think it would have not been ideal for Man United to go in there. But as a player, of course. But yeah, I think for me, Basuma is going to be quality. I think he's going to be perfect Conte player. And yeah, he's going to give you that kind of, because I always feel like with Tottenham's midfield, was it a bit stiff with Højbjerg in there? And certain times when Bentancur wasn't playing, like, was it a bit stiff? But I think he gives that flexibility. And I think with Jed Spence, I think he's a brilliant like right back. Everybody's seen like Jed Spence. Nobody can say they've not watched Jed Spence. Like, you must be on like living in.
I haven't. I genuinely haven't.
No, you've seen him, man.
No, I've seen him, but you know what I mean. There's a difference between seeing a player one or two times.
Oh, but I'm actively watching him.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah. So I watched a couple of championship games in it of him, like when it's on Sky Sports, and I just love to watch like championship and I see him, and he'd be always the one that'd be like the one that's outstanding, like, you know. And I feel like, you know, he's that sample signing that I think will grow. How old is he, by the way? Is he 21? 21, perfect age as well. So yeah, man, I think it's a good signing. Finally, they could get a right back that, you know, is of a very, very good quality. Whether he has that mentality I talked about, it remains to be seen. But you got a madman in Conte who's gonna bring that out of you. He's gonna basically get the fear out of him. Like, it's crazy. It's absolutely mad.
Yeah. 100, man, 100. Tobes, let's bring this super chat in. This is from Avi Troops. Big up yourself. Says, Tobes, this James Maddison link excites me. And Maddison and top centre back will be a 10 out of 10 window for me. What do you think? James Maddison, and then they're talking about Tielemans in the chat. I'm not sure both is going to come, but James Maddison links. How true is that, Tobes? I haven't heard much about this one.
Listen, I think this one's been spoken up by one of the Spurs ITKs, and he's actually pretty much under money when it comes to Spurs news, and he says that we're seriously considering James Maddison. So
I mean, if you get him, I'll be gutted.
Yeah, I'm literally praying to God. I'm praying that we just make the move for this guy, like, because he's so good. Like, he's so good. He's been on my wish list.
I love Maddison.
Oh, me too. He's the one I wanted over Ødegaard last season, and everyone laughed. But he got 12 assists and 16 goals, and everyone then shut up. Mate, he's so good. I think he's wicked,
should be England's 10, man. But that bloody Mount, in it, man, the baby.
Yeah, he's better than Mount. Like, all day long.
Son, he's getting ahead of him.
Yeah, I'd have him ahead of him all day long. But he'd be so good. Like, what's it going to cost, though, realistically, Tobes? Like, what are Leicester going to accept for him? Like, 60?
I think like 55, close to 60. 2 years left on his deal. I reckon 55 can land Maddison, man. I reckon, because I don't think he's going to sign a new deal. I think he's signed a new deal. What might have been like a year and a half ago. I can't even remember. But if there's 2 years left on his deal for real, then boy.
Like, I think that would just be a madness. Madness signing if you get him, man. Like, honestly, they will be serious. I wanted to bring this one in last, Tobes. which was this one here. Spurs can actually challenge for a title, says Ramesh. Now, I need to be realistic about this. I think Spurs, you know my thoughts, Tobes. I speak to you on offline. I speak to you quite a lot about what I believe Conte can do at Tottenham. I don't think he can win you a league, but I do think he can do a madness with you, and I do believe he'll get the best out of some of those signings you've made. I like the Richarlison signing, Lenglet signing. I think he's going to get the best out of those, but I think the Basuma ones and the Spence ones are really good. Perisic as well, I like that. I think what you're doing is you're backing this manager because you know, or Levy must know, surely Levy must know, that if this don't work, then where the hell do you go? Because this guy is a winner. So, title challenge, I guess you're agreeing with me, Tobes, it can't happen.
Yeah, I don't see a title challenge happening. But
It could be the dark horses, though. Could you say you're? I'm not saying that you're gonna. You could be the one that just basically causes a madness and then maybe tail off. Like they're the ones to watch out for the season. I think Tottenham.
We'll see. I don't know. I would love to co-sign all of this stuff yet, but we still need a certified left centre back. We still need to go out and sign someone like Madison, and then maybe I would entertain the dark horse talk. But for now, nah, man. I think you look at teams like Chelsea as well. Look at what they're doing in the window as well. Like it's not just us that are getting active now. Man United are finally starting to sign players. Like I said, Chelsea started.
You know what it is? Yeah, it's crazy. But I feel like for me, this isn't a top four race anymore. This is like a third and fourth spotlight. I know we call it top four race, but it's the battle for two positions, isn't it? Like when you be real, like Man City and Liverpool are going to get them two positions. So 4 teams are fighting for 2 positions. And you would also argue that I think Leicester might push, if they can get some signings in, Leicester, West Ham, Wolves always cause a bit of a problem. They always make it difficult for the team.
Newcastle, depending maybe on their recruitment.
Yeah,
I feel like them 2 positions, it's
going to be tough.
5 teams fighting.
Me as a Spurs fan, I'm looking at third. Like I'm looking at trying to grab third, solidify Spurs, and I'm looking for a trophy. I'm saying third spot and a trophy. What
a season as well. What a season! Like you know what I mean. What a season for Tottenham. If they get a trophy and come third, best of the rest, that is top. Like you can't ask for more. Being realistic, Tobes, that would be a fantastic season for you.
It would be, yeah.
100.
Facts.
Guys, we need to talk a little bit about Arsenal before we wrap up. I want to get both your opinions on Zinchenko because this is a very interesting signing for me. And the reason it's interesting isn't just because he's a good player and versatile, but I think it's interesting because it will be really good to see where we go after this signing if it happens. Because I don't know where we're going with this player position-wise. It looks to me as if he wants to play in that number 8. It doesn't look like he wants to play left back. We've already got Kieran Tierney. We know he's got injury problems, and of course he'll slot in there if Tierney's not fit. But I imagine Kieran Tierney will continue to play as a first-choice left back. I think he will slot in alongside Thomas Partey and Martin Odegaard in the free in midfield of Arsenal, from what we're hearing, where he plays for Ukraine as the captain and apparently is top quality. But I wanted to get your opinions on this, Tobes. I'll start with you, man. What do you make of this signing if it does go ahead?
I think it's a decent signing, man. I think Zinchenko is a good player. I think he's good on the ball. Yeah, I think a lot of people don't really give him the credit he deserves on the ball. I think he breaks lines with his passing. I think he's not afraid to sort of carry it here and there, not over long distances, but he's got a good left foot. He's got a really good left foot. He can track the ball, he can cross the ball, he can pass the ball. So, yeah, on the ball, I think he's definitely what you lot want. If you look at the fact that, if you look at the role he plays for Man City, that sort of tucked in left back, he can play that role for Arsenal, especially. And you want a player like Zinchenko who's comfortable with the ball in a possession-based team. But then I've also never watched him play regularly in the Prem as a midfielder, so I can't really say how good he'll be as a midfielder. He hasn't really played there loads for Man City. He's very, very rarely. And I think the one thing I do worry about with Zinchenko is his defending, because I don't know if he's I wouldn't call him a good defender. From what I've seen, I don't think he's a good defender. I don't think he's the worst defender ever, but I don't look at him and say, rah, like, you can do the job at both ends. I look at him as more of a player who offers more on the ball than he does off it. So, yeah.
For me, it's multifaceted in it. I think for me, you're gonna have to need a player like that. I think it's beneficial for the team. He can play in the midfield as well. He can play left back. You know what I mean? So I generally do think he gives you more options and more positives than he does negatives. He is naive. Someone says they can't defend. I think for me, he's naive to certain situations. Especially the West Ham game where you looked at it last season, maybe the high line, whatever you want to call it, but he is naive to that situation. I just feel like for me, you're getting Premier League proven, you're getting that mentality in the squad. He's a captain as well for Ukraine. I think he's someone that can become a leader, and he could grow in. I think Kieran Tierney's in trouble, man. I think he's been in trouble for about a year or two now. You know what I mean? I don't think you can rely on Kieran Tierney, and he could be that left back, that could give you that maybe, flexibility, because when you're playing Cedric on there and you're playing Tavares, it's not the same effect, is it? Zinchenko coming in, I don't think he's got that many injury record. I'm not really seeing it, but I feel like with if you get a CDM or a midfielder that can play in that double pivot with Partey, you should have extra cover on that side. So it just depends on what the system is. So I think it's a good signing, man, for what you're spending. But the problem is how much you're spending on him, though. Was it again 30 million?
35 million.
About 30 to 35, yeah.
But he's only 25.
I think it's, yeah, so, 25 years old, man. Like it's
30 million. What's that? 35 million. What's that now? That's like
it's not great.
15 to 20 million. So it's not the price isn't the issue. It's more the player's suitability to what you guys need. So
I think it'll be a good signing just for the fact that he can play in those two positions, and it will upgrade our squad, in my opinion. I do worry though, and this was interesting. Last night I was chatting on Grizz's channel with Ty, and he said Zinchenko and Partey doesn't do anything to worry me. And I thought, fair play. Does it? Like, would you look at that Arsenal midfield and go, Partey, Odegaard, Zinchenko, wow, like that's really tough. That's a real tough midfield. Tobes, would you look at that and go, wow, or would that scare you?
Not really. No. I think you can still bully that midfield.
Yeah, and I think like Saeed, I come to you with that because obviously we talk about your midfield. No, of course not. It isn't. No. But I think at the same time, my kind of back to that was we need to appreciate where we are. We're not going to have the likes of Vieira's and Gilberto Silva's in our midfield. We're not at that level anymore. So I think we need to be realistic. Maybe a Tielemans would be a little bit more scary in there because I think that he is more of a natural, in my opinion, number 8, and that's the guy I would like to see in there. And Zinchenko, of course, would be a great signing to have for squad depth and come in and maybe start ahead of Kieran Tierney if he's got his injury problems, of course. But I just thought it was really interesting for the opposition to look at Arsenal's midfield and go, nah, that don't really scare me as much. I mean, I wanted Basuma and Tielemans. They were the two that I wanted. Basuma obviously isn't going to happen. It looks like Tielemans may not. Zinchenko looks like he's going to be that guy. So I thought it'd be interesting to get your thoughts on that. Arsenal also links with Lucas Paqueta as well from Lyon, a player that I don't know too much about.
Do you need him? Do you need him, Paqueta?
Again, this is the route we're going, Saeed. I think Mikel Arteta is looking at Pep Guardiola's Man City side and going, I want all them attacking options as well. Because we've got Fabio Vieira linked with Paqueta, got Odegaard, got Saka, got Martinelli, got Smith Rowe. So many attacking options in there. So I'm looking at where's our centre forward. It's Gabby Jesus. What is after him? Eddie and Nketiah? Are we going to get somebody else? So, come on, man! Like,
and Paqueta as well. Like, we know Leon's owner is notorious.
Yeah,
like,
he's nuts.
He's crazy. Like they're saying 55, 60 million for Paqueta. Like that's a lot of money, bro.
Yeah.
So I feel like does this Zinchenko signing sort of plug two positions in one, or what?
That's why it's interesting.
That's what I'm saying. He is, yeah.
That's why it's interesting for me. This Zinchenko one really is, because what happens next is my question. Have we now got him and that's it? We don't see in much other movement. There's still positions need filling, so it's going to be interesting.
And another thing as well is why. Again, I'll keep banging on about it. Why am I not seeing any physically dominant players?
Thank you.
Why am I not seeing any physically dominant players? Why? Because the crunch games that you lot lost last year, you got destroyed physically. And when you look at your team, when you're playing away from home, you're playing tough matches against resilient sides, quite easy to bully Arsenal. It really is. It's quite easy to bully Arsenal. So you would have thought that they would look for a profile of midfielder that can not only do the technical stuff that they want, some of the technical stuff that they want, but can also hold his own in physical duels. And Thomas Partey is the only midfielder that can do that confidently. When he's in form, he's the only midfielder that can do that comfortably against most opposition. Odegaard is a really good player, but we know he goes into hiding sometimes. Yeah,
he does.
You're not telling me that he's the one you're going to bring in for physical battles. And Fabio Vieira, yeah, he may be good technically, but he looks like he's got the same body frame as Brian Hill, for heaven's sake.
Yeah, Brian. Yeah, exactly. I was going to say that.
Yeah, he's what's going on with him, guys. To wrap up for the last couple of minutes, I wanted to do this right, and I want to be real with you guys. Currently, out of our three sides, United, Arsenal, and Spurs, who has the best squad currently, do you think, going into this season? When we're looking at players that we've got, there's loads of links and rumours. We can't really go into that because, of course, we think we're going to do more business, but we don't know what that's going to be. Who do you think's in the best position right now? We'll start with you, Saeed. Who do you think's got the best squad out of Arsenal, United, and Tottenham?
I think it's Tottenham, man, because of the fact that they're a well more balanced team than I think the rest of us. I think maybe United's attack might be like everything about us is just okay. It's not great, but it's not amazing. Whereas I feel like with Tottenham, it's the most balanced. I think with Arsenal, it might be a bit top heavy. I think it might be certain aspects of the pitch might not be great. Like the midfield, I don't think is great. Xhaka and Partey together, I think you need some more mobility in there. You need some more kind of like, I don't know, it needs more in there. I think Tottenham now, with the Basuma, with the Jed Spence, with the, obviously adding more depth in Richarlison and whatnot, I think they're the most kind of potent for me.
I think you're right. Would you say Arsenal are next, or would you say United are next?
I think Arsenal, just because I feel like, you got Jesus, you got in Fabio Vieira, and who's the other one that you bought in?
We've got Marquinhos, but
but, I feel like for what Arteta's doing, he's in, because we need that midfielder in it. It's De Jong in it, and our midfield is absolutely terrible, man. So I can't really look at our midfield at all. If we had a little bit of a midfield balance, I would have said maybe us, but nah, nothing under the midfield for us.
Yeah, fair play, man. Tobes, what you saying?
I think if we're talking about which squad looks in the best shape right now, I'd have to go with us. I look at our attack. Our attack, in my opinion, is the best of the lot, comfortably. And then I think the weakest part of our team in the mid, one of the joint weakest parts of our team, midfield, we've just added a midfielder that starts at Man United, that most likely starts at Arsenal if you're playing a double pivot alongside Thomas Partey. So, yeah, I'm looking at Basuma, I'm looking at Bentancur, and then you have players who were starters last season like Højbjerg, who are now squad players. Players like Skip, who are injured, who are now squad players. And then, I'm looking at the whole thing, the package. Perisic as well. Yeah, I think our squad is in better shape than Arsenal's. Don't get it twisted. I think Arsenal have like a couple players that are nice that would definitely can definitely compete with our team as well. Like Tommy Yasu, for instance. I think he's right now. We need to see what Spence can do, but right now he's better than any option that we've got at right back. And then Odegaard, we don't have a 10, so you would imagine that he's there as well. Bukayo Saka, obviously we've got Kulusevski, but a player like Bukayo Saka's quality, he can mix it with the talent that we have. But on the whole, I think we've got a really good balance right now. And it can, and the good news for me is it can get better. Like it's not perfect, but it's good and can get better. Man United, they're just out of sorts, right?
It's just out of sorts. It's imbalanced. Everything's imbalanced.
It's just out of sorts. I think with Man United, like as I said, I can't really knock some of the signings they're making. Like Lisandro Martinez, again, I've not really watched him play, but when I do my research and I watched the stuff he can do, he looks a good technical player.
Yeah.
Malacia, I watched him once. Europa Conference League final, and he was ridiculous. Like he was so good. Eriksen. I know the quality he possesses, and if they sign De Jong, Like these are good players, but they're just out of sorts. Right back is still a concern. Left back is still a concern if Malacia doesn't play. Even with Lisandro Martinez, centre back is still a concern. Bailly, can he keep fit? Lindelof gets beasted physically. Maguire, error prone. Varane, not what he used to do. Can he stay fit? And then the attack. Ronaldo's your main goal scorer, but he doesn't give you the other aspects of the centre forward play that you need. Rashford, can he get back in form? You expect more from Sancho. Of course, Sancho's going to step it up, but like there's just way too many uncertainties with Man United, and I think there are way less uncertainties with Arsenal and Spurs.
Yeah, I think it's very fair what you're saying, and I do think it's close between Arsenal and Tottenham in terms of squad. I don't think it's like as clear cut. I do think in certain areas, 100% you're better than us. I don't think if we were to do a 1-11, you'd be like, wow, there's not many Arsenal players getting in this side. But in terms of who's the better right now, I do think Spurs are a better outfit than Manchester United.
I think starting 11 might still be close, but squad wise, I think we're definitely. I think it's clear. I think
Agreed.
Stronger than yours right now.
I totally agree, and I'm glad you said that because I think a first 11 actually there's quite a few Arsenal players that would probably get into a first 11, particularly at the back, because I do think Gabriel, Tomiyasu, Tierney would get in ahead of Davies and some of those guys. But
depends if you're playing doing wing back thing. There's no way you're telling me you're picking Tierney over Perisic. I'm sorry. If you're playing left back, yes. If you're playing wing back, no chance.
Yeah, it depends what formation you're saying. That's calm. That's calm. It depends what formation you're playing.
Gabriel, yes. Tomiyasu, right now, I'll say yes. Partey, yes. Yeah,
I agree with him. I agree with him. So I think it's close, and I think listen, we ain't done yet. There's still the business for you to do, us to do, and United to do as well. And I expect it to be very, very busy for all three of our clubs.
Busy, man.
Yeah, it's going to be a busy few weeks, man, and about time as well, man. About time. It's time it started to hot up. Listen, big up both yourselves for coming on. I really appreciate it, man. And it's
good show, man.
It's great seeing both of you together as well, which is always great. But Saeed, thank you, man. It's great seeing you coming back on. I know you've got loads of content. Your stuff is in the description. Guys, head over if you haven't done so already. There's 260 of you watching live. You lot are mad. Unbelievable. Thank you so much for coming on and listening to us all. Big up to Saeed. Get yourself over to his channel. Subscribe. Like all his content. Very, 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 very good in relation to Man United. And do exactly the same for Tapping Tobs, man. I don't know what you're on route to. What you on now? 10k in it, Tobs. So get yourself over to Tobs.
I just need to.
Just shy of that.
Like I'm just on the cusp of 9, and then once I get to 9, I want to get to 10. I really want to get to 10 soon. It's just
there we go, man.
You get there.
Let's get Tobes up to 10k and let's get Saeed's numbers up as well. And of course, do the same with me, man. I'm on the road to 3k, so if you can help in any way, that would be amazing. Smash a sub on the video, like the video, and thank you all so much for joining in. We will be back very, very soon. Please head over to Tobes' channel because I'm going to be on there with Grizz at some point over the weekend talking about Van Persie in 11-12 or Suarez in 13-14. And that's going to be a good discussion because that's going to get very, very heated, man.
I'm not going to lie to you. It's Suarez, man. Even though I love Van Persie, Suarez did crazy things in that year. But listen, it's good debate show. It's
gonna be a good one because I think it's gonna be closer than people think. Do you know what I mean? Like you can't slate either of them because they were just ridiculously good, both of them. But
people if you had to pick my opinion, to be honest. But
say again. I
said people will be shocked by my opinion, but boy.
Yeah, maybe they'll be shocked by mine as well, but we'll see. Guys, this has been a great show. Big up both of you for coming on. Big up everybody in the chat. Smash the like on your way out, and we'll see you next time. Take care, guys.
Peace.